So the next question comes about bioarchitecture. It's been there for a very long time, where you take inspiration from biology and nature around you, and um, the system that nature works in, and you take instances or system from it and then use it in our architectural spaces. Biggest example would be I think I saw this really interesting TED talk on this anthill space that they created just by the physics and geometry of anthill. Like the every time like air would pass through, it would just become thanda, right? Just because the top part is open and there's no air conditioning in that building. The only way the air could pass is that small hole on the top, and the moment it reaches through all the layers, it becomes thanda. It's almost like having the architecture of the space becomes AC for you. You don't need a special system for it. And that is what I feel is bioarchitecture, that you're taking inspiration from an anthill and how it keeps it in extreme hot weather outside, but the anthill inside, the temperature is like 5, 7, 8 degrees lower. And that is really impressive, like how nature, any which way, have these coping mechanisms to like sort of work with this bioarchitecture. Is this something that interests you? And is this something that you would want to take forward? And you said you have some controversial opinions about certain things. I want to know what.
I feel architecture is an empirical science. Like it's something that has been built over generations, ages, like starting from thatch or starting from caves actually to trees, thatch, mud houses, stone houses, then possibly glass houses where we are right now. So it's something that has developed over human history. It's not something that is very recent or something that, and exactly as you said, a lot of it has been inspired by nature, has been a response to nature, has it's actually the science of making something that you inhabit to protect yourself from nature, right? It's not something it now it's become more of something that you look at and appreciate, but it's not how it started off as. Like it's something that you possibly built to protect yourself from nature. It's, of course, it was built through natural materials, so it was in harmony all throughout. Materials which were locally available to you. If you're a caveman, you cannot possibly get Italian marble and lay it in your cave. But yes, it's something that has built over time. It's pure knowledge. There's a scientific aspect to it, but there's a lot of sensory aspect to it as well. It's something that needs to be designed, that needs to respond to your immediate context and climate. And inspiration can come from anywhere, yeah, for that matter. It can be through animal kingdom and their houses. It can be through humans, your fellow humans actually doing houses which are contextual.
Yeah.
It can come through anything. It can come through nature, trees, insects, plants.
Do you think we have
That's
gone
purely
too
inspirational.
far off in it? Matlab, in terms of architecture, I like the initial story of it, like how from the caves to thatches to mud houses, stone houses, right? I liked it till then. I liked the architecture till it was stone houses. And once we started using concrete, I feel like when the modernization actually came in, um, like you said, like from us, we created houses to protect from nature. But don't you think like it should be on the other hand, like we should not be, we should be trying to sort of work with nature rather than protect from nature,
So initially we were working with nature,
right? With
and
natural resources,
and of
yeah.
course we had to protect ourselves from it, because that's how it is. Like we need to build a shelter from nature.
From
We need to,
rain and
from rain,
storms and other
storms,
things, yeah.
snow, heat, for that
Yeah.
matter. We need to protect ourselves from it, and that's what a building envelope is essentially for, right? It If you're sitting right over here in an air-conditioned space, we need to be comfortable over here, and that's what it's been designed for.
Yeah.
There can be a lot of different ways to do it. There can be a lot of bio ways, there can be a lot of artificial man-made ways. But I think how it actually went from individual houses out of completely natural materials to these concrete, steel, glass is when industrialization came in, prosperity boomed, population boomed,
Mass manufacturing.
and you had to actually house a lot of people together. You had to, so there are a lot of economic, social factors that affect what kind of an approach that you will take for your design. So it need not be something that only one person can dictate. As we said, there are a lot of different factors which involve your design process, which actually affect the kind of materials and design approach that you're going to take possibly for a project. You cannot possibly stick to one pure design ideology and apply it to all the projects that you're
It has
doing.
to change contextually with
It
every
needs to be
space. Yeah.
contextual to whatever project that we are doing. I mean, it can have aspects, and that is the value that you're adding, possibly as a designer or an architect, of getting in the maximum amount of natural materials, lowering your carbon footprint, but you cannot possibly greenwash everything also. You cannot have a building loaded with plants, but at the same point of time, Italian marble also. Use it wherever it is required.
I also don't, honestly, I am averse to a little bit of Italian marble just because the over usage of it in India
Yes.
and
So
the extreme need of it right now, where people think it should be Italian marble. When I think, honestly, we have some great Indian marbles, by the way, like which are as good as Italian, if not better.
no, so that's what I'm saying. No, like when prosperity boomed, there was this certain design movement at that point of time wherein we saw maximalism happening
And accessibility to these kind of resources from different countries.
in different countries.
Yeah.
And then people got averse to it, and then we saw minimalism happening. Completely different. Modern technology, sharp edges, straight lines, exposed finishes, concrete, steel, glass.
Yeah.
And now possibly we've seen a lot of it being misused as well. So
Yeah.
now we're not at the stage where we can continue that modern architecture, the same modern architecture of concrete, steel, and glass. We now possibly need to move to something
New materials.
which is a little more hybrid. I would call it essentialism. Do what is essential.
Yeah.
Don't follow a design ideology blindly. Don't say I'm a modernist. Don't say I'm a maximalist. Don't say I'm a neoclassical designer or whatsoever it
Yeah.
is. Okay. If your project requires it, do it wherever it is essential. But don't go overboard with it, because we need to be conscious of the choices we are making, be that for materials, be that for designs, be that for the amount of labor involved into actually finishing that project up. We need to be conscious of all the choices that we make, and that's how possibly we can reduce our entire impact on the planet as well. We are living in a globalized world, so we have aspirations of a globalized world, so we need to incorporate them as well. But can we do them locally is something that we look forward to.
I do think we can do it locally for
Definitely.
sure. I've used materials in a lot of projects. I have sort of pushed for Indian marbles rather than Italian marbles. I've actually, in one house, I removed Italian marble and put an Indian marble.
You should have given it to me.
And they were shocked. They were shocked. They were just like, the parents were just like, how dare, how can you remove Italian marble? I was just like, at some point there was almost like a pushback and more almost a rebellious side of me that came out, because I was just not okay with the fact that every builder house had only Italian marble happening. And I wanted to change it, and I also spoke to the builder afterwards, and I did tell the builder, give my peace of mind, that saying that, why don't you use Indian marbles? Like, why are you putting Italian marble? And they're like, this is the demand. And I was like, okay, like, I do understand where they are coming from, that how every client says, and the cost of the space goes up and down depending on what kind of marbles you're putting in. So I do understand that, but yeah, for me, the only thing I feel in architecture is that everything around us, like, inspiration wise, you've taken from nature or whoever, however, outside. I know the idea of how modernism developed and going to the straight lines, when you're sort of pushing back into the classical movement and the art deco and the extreme decorative things you want to strip down into more geometric forms like Bauhaus, and these things movements sort of came into picture. But then I also feel somehow we lost touch to the organic nature of nature, right? Like, I feel every building you see around you is become like a box. I only see matchboxes. I only see these boxes over another box, another box, another box. And that's how the whole city has become. I don't see Delhi has any inherent l- design language to it anymore, especially places where it's been completely built up now.
No, I'll tell you, I differ from that completely.
Yeah.
I differ from that completely, specifically in the case of Delhi. Like, Delhi is not just what you see Delhi as of now.
I mean, the Lutyens and the other places you see, of course, low
Delhi is
houses is
actually seven
nice.
cities, possibly eight cities now. Delhi is
Oh, so
actually
actually, it's
a
that big.
combination of eight cities
Yeah.
built over time, and all of them built with the material that is locally available, with the knowledge of climate that Delhi has, and that is why you can still see remnants of all those seven cities even now in Delhi. They've stood the test of time. But now, exactly what I'm trying to get to, because of the social and economic factors that we are in, huge population. Delhi is about 2 crore people. It's not even a city anymore.
That's true.
It stretches 50 kilometers in dia. Plus, there is an NCR region. There are people traveling every day from distances as long as 100 kilometers to Delhi to work and then go back. There are a lot of policy level decisions which affect the kind of spaces we inhabit. And as architects, of course, and designers, we need to take note of these things. We need to be part of policy making at some level, and we all need to aspire to be at least part of that policy making so that we can make a measurable change to it.
Yeah, I would love to see an organic building, you know. I would love to see it. It's just not out there.
Oh no, there are a lot of projects coming up in construction, guys, but
Yeah.
you'll possibly see them very soon.
We're not, look at
I
our
think we are not
bodies.
the sole decision
Look at
makers
our
in
bodies.
the
We're all
process.
curved. Look at the nature. There's not a single thing in nature you would find which have straight line to it. Or like a geometry. They all have geometry in it, but a straight line is not something that is out there naturally. And we
Exactly.
have built things in straight lines now around us.
Because that gives you efficiency.
That gives you
That gives
efficiency,
you
mass
efficiency.
production is easier.
Mass production.
But we have never really explored the organic side of it. Maybe that production will be easier if we actually figured out a way out of it.
With
With
technological
technology, yeah.
advancements, we'd probably get there. As of now, at least, we are talking about the present. It involves a lot of manual labor and attention, and
And a different skill
and a
set to
different,
actually
completely
do
different skill
that kind of
set
thing,
to actually
yeah.
achieve something like that. So, which is what we are losing touch with, at least in the metropolitan cities, because they have their own restrictions of catering to the high demand of the population pressure that there is. So, we possibly cannot invest that much time as designers into developing something that is for the masses. And that's how we restrict ourselves to possibly
What is available out there, trying
what
to
is
work
available
with
out there.
that. So nice talking to you, Aman.
Thank
I
you.
think it was a lovely chat. You were quite nervous before,
Yeah, damn nervous. Yeah.
but I think it went well and we had a great time.
I had a great time. Thank you so
Yeah,
much for having
me
me.
too, me too. I also had a great time. So I think it's a wrap.
Wrap, wrap.
Wrap.
That's it, guys. Like, share, and subscribe.